So, सबसे पहले I would welcome everyone to this webinar today titled Climate Action and Building a Waste-Free World with the Unilevers team, Unilevers Pakistan team. Today, we will be talking about the environmental, social, and governance, or ESG, more commonly known as. In this respect, I'd like to say that while each of these three disciplines has its own set of standards and practices, together they indicate an organization's dedication to achieving the greater good for the environment, society, and the organization itself. It is important to note that the organization is also a beneficiary of ESG. Investors, customers, employees, and other stakeholders are turning up pressure on companies to reduce their environmental impact of their business, be more transparent about ESG reporting. Today's ESG programs look at business practices across the enterprise to ensure that what the business says in terms of following ESG standards, is it actually doing so as well? There are important components within each of these ESG disciplines. Pakistan is ranked 8 on Global Climate Vulnerability Index. It is well acknowledged that major action is required from the developed countries, and this was seen during the COP26 in Glasgow in 2021, where the US and China had announced an agreement to ramp up their cooperative climate ambitions to commit themselves to net zero emissions. There is a need to promote ESG's significance, relevance, and benefits as a tool for attracting long-term domestic and international capital flows, as well as changing the quality of investment, better managing company activities to ensure the environmental friendliness, promoting social safeguards, and company governance. Pakistan Stock Exchange is working on a mechanism for listed companies to follow and report on sustainable practices. To further work on promoting ESG initiatives, an ESG task force led by Dr. Shumshad Akhtar and co-founded by Pakistan Stock Exchange and the Pakistan Institute of Corporate Governance has been set up under an MOU. The objective of the task force is to develop and launch a coherent, systematic, and realistic framework backed by regulations and tools, instruments, and incentives to encourage companies and financial institutions to voluntarily adopt ESG standards and guidelines. Pakistan Stock Exchange, by promoting ESG, encourages listed companies to adopt sustainable practices, improve transparency, and enhance governance. At the same time, involving creation of ESG reporting guidelines, encouraging companies to disclose relevant information, and even offering ESG-themed investment products in future. PSX has also started a financial literacy initiative where we learn from ESG professionals by holding webinar sessions on what companies should do to attain sustainable practices, what work is being done currently to promote ESG. Giving the example of Unilever, it is a multinational consumer goods company which has been a prominent player in the ESG space. Unilever has demonstrated a commitment to sustainability, reducing their environmental footprint, supporting social initiatives, and maintaining good corporate governance practices. To further learn on Unilever's experiences when it comes to ESG, climate action, and building a waste-free world, we have two professionals from Unilever Pakistan who will share insights on what Unilever has done and is doing to promote effective ESG practices, especially when it concerns the environment. I would like to welcome Mr. Mohammad Taha, who is Country Health and Safety Manager at Unilevers Pakistan. He is an experienced project manager with over 7 years experience in the consumer goods industry, skilled in building technical and financial feasibility, process design and implementation, sustainability initiatives, engineering, procurement, project monitoring and control, as well as troubleshooting. We also have with us Walid bin Ayub. He is an industrial and manufacturing engineer with strong technical background in supply chain, brand development, and packaging development. Currently, he is serving as Sustainability and Packaging Development Manager at Unilever Pakistan. He is primarily responsible for better plastic, less plastic, and no plastic, along with packaging development of beauty and well-being business at Unilever. Without further ado, I would request Taha to take over the webinar here on to showcase what all Unilevers is doing in this particular space. So over to Taha.
Thank you, Raida, and assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Today, we will briefly touch upon how Unilever is committed towards sustainability. While there's a lot of work being done in the light of ESG, today we will mainly be talking about the environment bit and how Unilever is tackling and playing a key role in preventing climate change and creating a benchmark for the industries to follow as well. Before jumping into it, I'd like to quickly take you through how our company looks at it. So what you see on your screens is our compass. So this is the North Star for Unilever's operations across the globe. And the company itself has defined its purpose as a company that the purpose is to make sustainable living commonplace across the world. And the vision is to be the global leader in sustainable business. And the model entirely is purpose-led and future-fit. Now, how Unilever drives its purpose is primarily through its brands. And our mantra is that brands with purpose grow. The key legs of the purpose driven through brands is trifold. The first one being improving people's health, confidence, and well-being. The second is improving the health of the planet, and the third being contribution towards a fairer and more socially inclusive world. Today, like I said, we will be talking mainly about how Unilever aims to improve the health of the planet and what role it plays in this regime. Before going into what Unilever is doing, I just quickly like a reflection on how Unilever defines the scope and how it has segmented its approach towards tackling climate change and building a climate transition plan. Scope 1 refers to all of the operations that are done by the company-owned institutions. So it includes all company facilities, all of the company's vehicles. So all of the emissions, the energy footprint, etc., that takes place in our company-owned facilities, which includes our offices, our own factories, and through our own company vehicles is covered in Scope 1. Scope 2 covers the indirect role we play in our primary facilities, and this is primarily covering the purchased electricity, the steam, heating and cooling, so all of the utilities we use in our own facilities. These come under Scope 2. And then Scope 3 covers all of the upstream and the downstream activities. And in the upstream activities, we start from the purchased goods and services we get, all of the capital goods, the fuel and energy related activities we encompass, the transportation and distribution services for raw materials reaching our factories, the waste generated in those operations, all of the business travel, the commuting that the employees do, and the leased assets we have. And when we look at all of the downstream activities as part of Scope 3, these includes the transportation and distribution of finished goods we produce, the processing of the sold products, the most important being the use of the sold products themselves, and the end-of-life treatment of the products we sell. It also covers the leased assets we have as part of our downstream activities, the franchises we have, and the investments the company makes. Now, when I go into the next slide, you will see that Unilever has segmented its approach, starting from Scope 1 and 2, and then eventually covering all of the Scope 3 that I've just described. What you see on screen now is actually our global Unilever climate transition plan. And I will walk you through this plan and talk about some of the sections in detail. And as you can see, it starts from what the top line ambition is, what our plan is. And then it covers our operations, our entire value chain, covers our brands and products. It covers the organizational position we maintain in terms of that. And it also covers the governance, data, and disclosure that our company withstands globally. Starting from our plan and starting from the end, in fact, the company has made an ambition and a goal to go completely net zero by 2039. And when I say completely net zero, this means across scope 1, 2, and 3. So our direct operations, the purchased utilities we have, and all of our upstream and downstream activities, our ambition is to be completely net zero by 2039. Now, moving backwards in time, by 2030, the company has an ambition to 100% reduce the emissions against the 2015 baseline in our scope 1 and 2. So then again, this is our own facilities, our own manufacturing operations, and the purchased utilities we have. Coming further in a nearer time scale, by 2025, the company aims to reduce, again from a 2015 baseline, our emissions by 70%. On top of that, we have to halve the footprint of our products by 2030 against the baseline we had in 2010. And all of these targets have been designed based on the 1.5 degrees Celsius target that global environmental experts have reached. And Unilever has pledged a $1 billion climate and nature fund, which will help us achieve all of these targets that I've just talked about. Now, coming into our operations, and when I talk about energy footprint and emissions, particularly, I'll go into a bit of detail after this slide as well. But covering the top line, since January 2020, all of the electricity that Unilever consumes or purchases is renewable. And this has been achieved by two methods initially. Most of the operations where we could directly transition to renewable energy, we have gone towards that. And what we've done in Pakistan, I will cover that. But for all of the remaining electricity that we purchase through the grid, now Unilever purchases credits against them so that a substantial amount of money goes into the generation of renewable energy across the world, and for this sector to grow sustainably. The ambition here is to eventually move to 100% self-sustained renewable energy generation. But as I said, this is a segmented approach. So because of multiple challenges, some of which I will talk about later. Right now, we've used a biopole method where we're generating sustainable energy as much as we can in our own sites. And for the remaining, we're investing off-site. The second leg is, of course, to improve our eco-efficiencies so that our energy footprint itself goes down and reaches an optimum level. And this is an ongoing process. Every year, every unit of Unilever is assigned very stretching targets to improve their efficiency and to reduce the energy demand they have. In terms of other forms of energy, particularly heat, by 2030, the company aims to completely move towards renewable heat. So this is backed by sustainable energy sources or biofuels, etc. And a lot of progress has been made in this way across the globe, and particularly in Pakistan as well. This is where we made significant progress. Another point I'd like to talk about is the phasing out of the high impact HFC refrigerants from cooling systems across all of our operations, which involves a lot of cold chain and refrigeration in our manufacturing process. We're working out towards a phase out of the CFC non-friendly refrigerants. And in most of the units in large scale refrigeration operations, this has already been established. Another aspect which we monitor and have an ambition to reduce is to halve the food waste in our operations by 2025. And this is particularly relevant to our nutrition and ice cream categories, where the waste produced in the factories and along the value chain is consumable food as well. So we're actively looking at this aspect, and the ambition is to halve the food waste in the next 2 years. When we talk about, slide is not visible, I've been told. It's not just. Pardon the interruption, I'm just going to reshare my screen.
Sure.
Okay. So again, talking about our value chain, one of the key things that Unilever is working upon, and we're actually nearing the completion here, is zero deforestation by 2023 in palm oil, tea, soy, and cocoa. Now, Unilever is one of the biggest global consumers of palm oil across the globe, and a lot of work has been done in terms of prevention of deforestation, particularly in terms of palm oil. And we're rechanging our formulations, we're rechanging our suppliers, and we're doing a lot of steps towards the upstream activities to ensure that none of the palm oil we source causes any deforestation. Moving on, as we progress towards 2030, we have an ambition to reduce the emissions produced by our logistics operations up to 40 to 50%. And some of the initial work in Pakistan has also been started right now. It's not significant enough, but we're building roadmaps how we get there by 2030. Moving on, by 2025, we aim to have at least 25% of recycled plastic in our products, and Walid is going to talk about it in detail as we move on with this session. In our global car fleet, we aim to have 100% electric vehicles or hybrids by 2030. When we talk about our brands and products, we're talking about replacing fossil fuel derived carbon with renewable or recycled carbon by 2030 in our home care formulations. And in the global operations where we have, meat related or dairy products, we're aiming to go towards plant-based meat and dairy alternatives by 2025 to 2027. In terms of the ice cream category that we operate, which we also have in Pakistan, a lot of work has already been done in making sure that the kind of insulation we have in our ice cream cabinets and the type of refrigeration units we have in our ice cream cabinets are really improving year on year in terms of their energy efficiency and their emissions. Globally, our procurement teams and our supplier development teams are working towards protection and regeneration of 1.5 million hectares of land, forests, and oceans by 2030. A lot of work in this domain has also been done in the form of reformulating our products. So when we talk about our personal care or beauty and well-being products like shampoos or detergents, a lot of them, if you assess the complete chain of their disposal, end up in the oceans. So we're reformulating these products so that the preservatives used in these products are milder and are aquatic friendly. We've transitioned quite a bit of our products onto the new formulations, and the remaining ones are also in trial phases. So that's what we're doing in terms of preservation of the ocean. And an ambition by we don't have a timeline for this, but we're already started working, and it's part of our ESG framework is to share the carbon footprint of every product we produce. Moving on, I'll just speed up a bit as our global stance, and our corporate governance framework has been completely reformulated to be centered towards ESG, and we're following the TCFD framework, and we're doing CDP investor disclosure. Our annual reporting and our the board advisory vote every 3 years is done based on these fundamentals. Moving on, let's talk a bit about the clean energy initiatives we've done in Pakistan. So whatever I'm showing here is the journey that we've taken in the last 5 years. So if we look at the energy footprint of our factories, right now, sitting today, 82% of the energy of our factories is renewable, generated through sustainable and renewable fuels. The total installations for solar power generation across Pakistan have a footprint of 9.4 megawatts, and the power submission these have comprises almost 30 to 35% of our total consumption. Like I said before, 100% of our electricity from grid is the impact, environmental impact is nullified through the credits we purchase. And like I said, we have some challenges. Our ambition is to completely generate the sustainable energy on our own sites, but the lack of a wheeling policy in our country and other challenges in terms of power distribution, etc., are a hurdle right now. And Unilever is actively advocating with the right government bodies to roll out a wheeling policy which will really help with the environmental crisis and substitute a bigger chunk of the current fossil fueled energy with sustainable energy. And secondly, it will also help in the energy crisis overall. Over the last 5 years, our carbon emissions have gone down by 84% despite having seen a production increase year on year. And if we talk about other sources of heat, 84% of the total steam we consume in our factories or operations in Pakistan is produced from biomass fuels. And by the end of this year, 100% of this will be converted to, biomass fuel source steam. So, like I said, just to summarize, wherever the aspects are available and opportunities available in our own sites, the Unilever's direction is always to take a step ahead and go towards sustainability. And wherever there are, country level or organizational challenges, we are actively playing a role in advocating towards better policy, which can help us and other organizations move towards cleaner energy and to tackling the climate crisis we're all facing. With this, I would hand over the baton to Walid to take us through the plastics journey and what we're doing about it.
Okay, thank you, Taha. So first we need to understand the plastic, why it is important in the context of the environment and why it's the essential part of the ESG. So can you please move on the slide? Okay, I can't see the slide. Okay, just give us a minute. We are going to reshare our slides. Is it appearing at your end? No, I can't see. Just give us a minute.
Whether there's supposed to be some issue, we can't, they will lag while we share the text.
It's changing on my screen.
Okay, I'm not sure. There are some issues.
What I did on together.
Yeah. Guys, just give us a quick 2 minutes.
I think, Walid, we can't hear you.
Yes, just give us a minute because what we are doing, we are actually resharing our screen. Okay, now screen is uploaded. Okay, can you please move on the next slide? Yeah. So first, it is crucial to grasp the gravity of Pakistan's plastic problem and why it demands our immediate attention. So in the 21st century, the rapid growth of plastic waste has become a global crisis, and Pakistan is deeply affected by this trend. Allow me to share some eye-opening statistics that highlight the severity of this issue. Pakistan generates an astonishing 49.6 million tons of solid waste annually. Within this vast volume, Pakistan plastic waste stands out, accounting for around 3.9 million tons, a concerning 8% of the total solid waste produced each year. Our oceans are heading towards a dire plastic catastrophe. Predictions suggest that by 2050, the weight of plastic in our seas could surpass that of fish. This alarming revelations come from the Glenn MacArthur Foundation. Our beautiful coastlines bear the brunt of our plastic challenge, with a staggering 65% of the waste washing up being water bottles, caps, plastic bags, and packaging materials. The reality is stark. If current trends continues, Pakistan's annual plastic waste could surge to an astounding 6.12 million tons by 2050. Presently, 55 billion plastic bags circulate throughout the country, with their usage projected to grow by 15% annually. To put this into a perspective, our yearly plastic waste production is equivalent to the mass of the world's second highest mountain, that is K2, an astonishing amount that can't be overlooked. So this is the time to take action. Our environment, marine systems, and our very future are on the line. The challenges posed by plastic pollution are substantial, but they are not insurmountable. Through collective efforts, informed decisions, and innovative solutions, we can reverse the course of this crisis. So in our journey to tackle this issue, let me also present why Unilever is committed to this cause. Let's envision a Pakistan liberated from the grasp of the plastic waste and work persistently to turn this vision into reality. So as of a company, what are we doing? So our approach to products and packaging is undergoing transformation. We are actively exploring innovative methods to enhance accessibility to everyday products while minimizing plastic waste. Our objective is to establish a circular system that maximizes the usage of plastic. This involves the continual collection, processing, and reutilization of plastic in a closed loop. So our ambition are reducing virgin plastic. So by 2025, our goal is to decrease our reliance on virgin plastic by 50%. We do have a vision to actually kind of a leadership in collection and processing. So we are resolute in our commitment to gather and process more plastic packaging than we distribute. So this proactive strategy ensures responsible plastic waste management and mitigates environmental related pollution. Third one is the sustainable design focus. We are striving for 100% of our plastic packaging to be fully reusable, recyclable, or compostable. This sustainable design approach guarantees a positive product lifecycle impact from creation to disposal. And the last but not least, increased recycled material integration. Our ongoing efforts involve the integration of post-consumer recycled plastic into our packaging. By 2025, we aim for at least 25% of our packaging to comprise recycled plastic. This approach curbs the needs for the new plastic and fosters the utilization of existing resources. So moving on the next slide, collecting and processing. Yeah, so on collection and processing, we do an ambition that we will collect more than we sell. Isn't just a goal. It is a commitment we embarked on in 2021. Our journey began with a plastic pledge to collect 2,000 tons of plastic waste, which we have transformed into meaningful, useful products. To achieve this, we formed a partnership with Greener and established parks across Pakistan, bringing joy to children's faces and giving back to society by creating functional furniture from recycled plastic. If I move on to the next slide. So as the journey began in 2021, I'm proud to share that in 2022, we have achieved a significant milestone. We are now up to 50% plastic neutral. During this journey, we established 20 parks across Pakistan, including well-known ones such as Hill Park, Fair Hall, F9, and Beachview Parks. These efforts reflect our commitment to sustainability and contribution to a cleaner environment. The question is, how are we accomplishing this? The process involves a series of steps within mechanical recycling. Firstly, we collect plastic from open dumps and residences within gated communities. Subsequently, we sort the collected plastic based on its type. Following this, we initiate a washing process. Afterward, the plastic undergoes crushing, followed by baling and melting, which transform into granules. These granules are then easily moldable into downcycled products such as park furniture, including items like children's play area, equipment, and benches. In summary, our approach involves a well-defined process of collecting, sorting, washing, crushing, and transforming plastic waste into reusable material for the creation of various useful products. Furthermore, we have committed ourselves to a significant endeavor. Just give us a minute. We are disconnected. So, okay. Can I share my screen or? Okay. So furthermore, we have committed ourselves to a significant endeavor, the creation of a pilot circular economy structure with the potential to render Rahim Yar Khan City plastic-free by 2025. To address this challenge, we have devised a circular economy model for Rahim Yar Khan. Our goal is to formalize the informal sector and establish a recycling industry that tackles critical issues such as child labor, exploitation, health, and education. The plan entails comprehensive plastic waste that that is to be collection from households and roads, fostering recycling habits and segregation on a larger scale. Post collection, the plastic will undergo washing, sorting, and transformation into plastic resin readily available for another round of useful application. Our pilot initiative aims to benefit 100,000 people and 14,000 households in Rahim Yar Khan, while also generating substantial revenue. So here we are actually encouraging to the startup companies to actually invest in our circular economy model and we invite you to join hands in creating a cleaner, greener, and more sustainable Pakistan. Not only this, so in addition to these efforts, Unilever is investing in innovative models such as reverse vending machines to collect plastics and facilitate its conversion into recycled products. One significant example is the introduction of a new packaging renovation in 2022 for Sunsilk Black Shine shampoo. These bottles now contain 25% recycled plastic content, showcasing our commitment to sustainability. These bottles are 100% recyclable and use locally sourced recycled plastic. This step represents a crucial stride towards reshaping our interaction with plastic and forging a sustainable future. Furthermore, we are also exploring the implementation of refill machines for shampoos and liquid hygiene products in collaboration with our partners. This initiative is aimed at achieving wider adoption and scaling up the impact. Through these approaches, Unilever is actively pushing boundaries to foster a circular economy and decrease plastic waste. So, if I tell you, what are we doing on the other front? So, in order to achieve this, we have created a strong platform known as
I think Waleed's voice has disappeared.
Raida, can you hear me?
Raida is gone out. I'm sitting on her behalf for the time being. I think there seems to be an issue. Regret for the inconvenience. We'll be able to log in by a minute from now. Waleed, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sure. You can go ahead.
Okay, just give us a quick 1 minute. We are going to share our screen.
Can you share it?
Yeah, it says you started. Sure.
Take later.
So in order to achieve this, we have created a strong platform known as Core, and where we are actually fostering an extensive network that includes companies from every corner of Pakistan. This platform functions as a united front, promoting the principles of a circular economy, centering recycle efforts, and striving to achieve the ambitious objective of making 100% packaging reusable and recyclable. The steadfast dedication of Core finds in Unilever Pakistan's unwavering engagement. Our commitments remain steadfast as we actively work to realize the vision of a clean, green, waste-free, and plastic-free Pakistan. Our efforts are aimed at shaping a future that is not only sustainable, but also filled with promise. Last one is our strategy is straightforward yet impactful to establish a circular economy for plastic. This entails a series of well-defined steps, including designing products with recyclability in mind, collaborating with academia and research institutions to foster innovations, developing solutions tailored for recyclers, and converting used plastic back into sustainable packaging. Additionally, we are committed to comprehensive collection and processing from our end consumer. Through this cohesive approach, we aim to create a perfect loop that ensures plastic remain in circulation, minimizing waste and maximizing sustainability. There are some significant plastic challenges as well that demands immediate action. So the first is inadequate waste management. Insufficient waste infrastructure leads to improper plastic disposal, impacting our environment and oceans. Second is awareness gap. Lack of awareness about plastic harm hinders reduction efforts and responsible disposal. Third is low recycling rate. Limited recycling facilities result in plastic waste piling up in landfill and the environment. Fourth is lack of recycling culture. Fifth is economic consequences. Plastic pollution affects sectors like tourism, fisheries, and agriculture, impacting revenue. The sixth one is the innovation solution. Biodegradable plastic, sustainable packaging, and community recycling initiatives are vital, and we are actively looking for the companies who can actually provide and for the startups. Seventh is the global collaboration. So international cooperation is crucial to combat plastic pollution effectively. And the last one is the policy need. Stronger regulations are vital to address plastic production, usage, and waste management. So let's unite for a cleaner, greener, and a plastic-free Pakistan. So thank you from my side. So I hope that you can.
Thank you, Taha, and thank you, Waleed. It has been quite an insightful presentation and taking us through the entire efforts that Unilevers has made over the years and how you're tackling the climate challenge that we have. In spite of that, I must repeat the recent statement of Mr. Antonio Guterres, who's the UN Secretary General. He actually said that the era of global warming has ended and the era of global boiling has arrived. When we keep all these statements and what's happening in perspective, and especially Pakistan has been a victim of climate disaster in the last couple of years also, as we've seen, we must realize and recognize that it is imminent and it is very important now to address and tackle this. So with this, I would route you towards some questions that a few of our participants have asked. I will just read those out and you could decide who would take those questions. एक तो comment है कि nice startup. Hello, ma'am, where can I find a list of listed and non-listed companies complying with ESGs? Acha, ye to khair question Ali Zaidi. I will answer that PSX has on its website all financial statements of various listed companies. That is where you can actually see the ones who put up their sustainability reports as well. Are there any emerging trends or regulations in the ESG space that companies should be aware of? Ji, Taha, Waleed, aap log mein se kaun ye question lega?
So I let me take that up from what I understand the question to be. So the emerging trends, what I would say from my limited understanding of ESG are that it's ever growing. So the kinds of modules and aspects that are now being looked at in the domain of ESG are increasing year after year. With the types of factors like inclusivity, diversity at work, in terms of what kind of wages are paid to people across the value chain. I think there's every time you read up on ESG, there's more focus on something new. So it's hard to say what the emerging trends are, but for our organization, what I can say is that lately we've been focusing a lot on fair living wage and compensation to workers across our value chain. and we believe it to be one of the foundations in terms of sustainability across the domains. Climate change and environmental aspects remain to be the focus, but now it has diversified quite a bit. And when we talk about environmental aspect, now the focus is going towards our extended operations, and like I said, towards scope 3, etc. So it's the answer to this would remain dynamic, I think, every time you ask the question, because the focus is ever growing. It's just the primary bit is that it should be at the core of the organization's governance framework, and it should be the mantra or the North Star which the organization follows. The subdomains of ESG will keep on increasing year after year.
Just to add on to
Thank
that, generally, traditionally, whenever we spoke about sustainability reporting or anything that we're reporting on environmental aspects as well, that mainly just included stakeholders who are directly working on those projects, or let's say stakeholders from our finance teams, because they are involved in the reporting aspect. But with ESG, the trends that we see, and from our limited knowledge, what we're seeing is that it is something that is more holistic and something that sort of incorporates the entire organization from top to bottom, because it includes your data from your supply chain, it includes data from your sales force as well. So it's more holistic, and I think something that includes the entire organization and your external stakeholders as well.
Okay, there's another question. एक तो आपका question है किसी का, how can we get this training for presentation for later view? In about a week's time, we'll put this up on our what do you call, YouTube channel. It will also be available through our social media, so you can go and check the webinar section of Pakistan Stock Exchange YouTube channel. Are there any industry specific best practices for addressing environmental concerns and minimizing a company's carbon footprint?
So I think the section that I covered primarily focuses on this. Some of the key things I'd like to say here are that your strategy should be segmented and long-term. You start focusing on what you have the maximum control over, and then expand your horizon. So that's the first recipe for success. Otherwise, if you start with an ambition to change the entire world, you will make very little progress. When it comes to your own operations, be it manufacturing or logistics, there are proven technologies and proven methods of how you can become more sustainable, or the kind of energy footprint you have can become more cleaner. In terms of heat energy, in terms of electrical energy, there are ample solutions available in the market. There are very good consultants available in Pakistan who can guide you towards your specific problems. But most of the solutions are just a Google search away. So I would recommend that you do some slight bit of research in what is needed. Maybe get a consultant involved for your specific problems. There is very little left for research and development. Most of these are proven technologies and are established. The more tricky bits are, the extended supply chain bits, where, for example, if you're banking on biofuels, etc., maybe there are supply chain issues within the country for something of that sort, and a new supply chain needs to be created. Those are areas where collaboration of industries and development of new sectors is needed. But as far as operations within your own domain are concerned, some of them are what I shared here, like moving towards solar generated power, moving towards combined heat and power cycle generation, which caters to your heat energy needs and your electrical energy needs. So there are proven solutions available.
Okay, then thank you. What is the water wastage policy and conservation approach of Unilever? Are you complying with any ESG financial reporting standards? For governance, can you talk about the board structure?
I'm sorry, talking about the water.
Shall I repeat?
Policy.
No.
No, I got it. So
water wastage policy.
I got it. So when it comes to water, when we talk about our environmental footprint, basically comprises of our energy footprint and the emissions related to it, the waste we generate, and the water we consume. So these are the three pillars we actively work on. When it comes to water, our initial ambition is to take 100 of our sites globally to sign up for the Alliance for Water Stewardship program. This includes active work within our own operations to reduce the water consumption and wastage we have at our own sites. Secondly, it also works towards improving the water-related problems that the nearby community is facing. So this year, we're taking 2 of our 3 manufacturing units on the Alliance for Water Stewardship program. Other than that, year on year, what we have are very stretching targets for reduction of the water we consume. And we look at it in 2 ways. One is the amount of water that goes into our product in some of the categories, and the water used to manufacture the products. So we're actively monitoring both, and this is one of the toughest targets we get as an organization, is to reduce the water we consume. The edge we get is that with the scale of Unilever operations, we have access to global best practices and technology that we can leverage and deploy in our own units. And we have been actively doing that. And over the course of last 5 years, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but we've gone down in our water consumption by somewhere around 15 to 20%, despite having an increase in the volume of production we make.
Great, thank you. एक और question था for governance. Can you talk about your board structure? Would you like to talk about it, or let's stick to the topic, climate and environment?
Rather, there was another question in the middle. Are you complying with any ESG financial reporting standards? So, our global Unilever, they are reporting, and the data that obviously the Pakistan is working on that feeds into that. But in Pakistan, currently, right now, we're not reporting because it's not mandated. And as far as we know, ICCP is working on developing standards right now for ESG reporting. So once they come, we will start reporting that.
Thank you, Ramla. Can I move? Is there any framework in Pakistan for ESG reporting? There are many frameworks. I mean, Taha, would you like to comment on this?
So there's no formally rolled out or deployed ESG framework. What we're anticipating is that probably by next year, some framework will be mandated as an initial pilot in Pakistan. What we have right now is many global references that we can benchmark. So the right answer would be, right now there is no framework officially deployed, but we have references.
Great, thank you. Actually, it also depends on various companies, whichever framework they would like to adopt for their own respective reporting procedures. So there are various frameworks available. You need to review them, assess which one suits your particular segment or sector, and utilize that. There's another question. Many companies in Pakistan started focusing on CSR as everyone else was doing that worldwide. Now, ESG is the new trend. Is it only a good PR initiative or more of a legally binding / legislative one? Thoda sa, I think we really need to, set the ground for why there is a need for ESG reporting and ESG compliance. Thoda Taha, aap batayenge ya Waleed aapki taraf se, or Ramla? Who would like to take the question?
I think it's very important that, and I really appreciate that stock exchange is doing, SCCP and KICP is also doing for creating that awareness. I think it's very important to distinguish between CSR, sustainability, and then ESG reporting. A lot of times when we're talking about ESG, we tend to think of activities that we do under CSR, or activities or initiatives that we're doing, under our sustainability ambit or sustainability pillar. ESG reporting, I would say, is more from a compliance lens. I won't say legally binding or a legislative one. It's more from a compliance lens that a company is talking to its external stakeholders, talking to its internal stakeholders as well, and reporting on different initiatives that they're taking and reporting different metrics and KPIs that they have committed. It has nothing to do with CSR. It's more, again, like I said, it's a compliance thing.
So just building on top of that, it's this belief that the fundamentals of doing business have to be changed in a way that conserve and preserve our planet in the future. So they're kind of converting it from an initiative-based approach to a mandatory approach, and that's the philosophy behind it. Well-intended philosophy, but positioned in a way that it's supposed to be a compliance-related thing.
Great, thank you. I think that's correct. It's more like a change in the way you do business. It's self-imposed because at this point in time, it is important to comply with ESG, not just for the benefit of the company, but also for the benefit of the environment. If we compare with CSR was just one small effort, okay, you know, a lot of companies would do to be accepted as a good social citizen, and it would add to their brand building and brand equity strengthening effort. But when we talk about ESG, it's a different ball game altogether. It's a new way of doing business. It's a new philosophy of doing business, and it is actually changing your procedures and processes and procedures and everything to actually make it beneficial for the environment, or at least environment, social, and obviously governance को भी perspective में रख के we must evolve as a company, as an institution. So yes, one level is the importance of why it is, and on the other hand, it's also very important that we comply or adopt ESG practices, because within Pakistan, when we look at foreigners or even our own clients and stakeholders, they respect us more. They would be more loyal customers if they understand and if they know that the company is taking steps to improve and help at all levels, and they're transparent at the governance level. They are helping the environment and not polluting it further, and they're also working on the social front, which means for the employees, but not only for the employees, but also for the society around us. So coming back to the, I think एक या दो और questions हैं. Do you think Pakistan, being a developing country, would prefer recyclable products, which would be expensive, compared to non-recyclable ones, which are cheaper?
So the decision between choosing recyclables but more expensive products and non-recyclable cheaper product is complex and depends on various factors, including awareness, policies, education, and consumer priorities. So it is important to note that the landscape is changing and sustainability is increasingly becoming a consideration in purchasing decision, even in developing countries. And moreover, sustainability or the products which are with their kind of the recycle option will eventually become cheap in the sort of a longer vision, not only in the shorter. Yes, in the shorter range, it looks expensive, but if we do look from the perspective of 2025 or 2030, then it will eventually become affordable or the cost effective.
Great, thank you. I think that's a very valid observation, because as you change your manufacturing or your packaging and all that, so it will become a less costly option over time, because that's the way it will be done. It should be seen, and it is being seen, as an investment rather than a cost or expense. One more, Unilever being, that is meant for the stock exchange. Unilever, being the global company, is taking initiatives and setting benchmarks for other firms in Pakistan. then why not PSX or government set up SOP for other firms for sustainability of operations in Pakistani firms? So Yasir Arafat Saab, I cannot comment on the government because I'm sure wahan bhi ho raha hai kafi kaam. There are different SDG units and other and small entities or groups and units that are working on it. पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप पे भी काफी काम हो रहा है सो आई वुड सजेस्ट कि आप कुछ गूगल करके पाकिस्तान की गवर्नमेंट के इनिशिएटिव्स को जरूर देखें एसडीजीज के ऊपर बिकॉज दे आर एसडीजी यूनिट्स व्हिच आर देयर एंड वो काफी अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट्स पे भी काम कर रहे हैं सो इट्स वर्थ चेकिंग दैट नंबर 1 नंबर 2 ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ पाकिस्तान स्टॉक एक्सचेंज हमारे 2-3 एफर्ट्स हैं एक तो ये एजुकेशनल एंड अवेयरनेस क्रिएशन एफर्ट है जिसमें companies like Unilevers and other listed companies जो कि reporting कर रही हैं, we are joining hands with them. We're asking them to come and talk about it, so it is showcased, so other companies can learn from their examples. So that's one. The other thing, we are putting together a comprehensive guide on ESG for listed companies to actually follow. It will be a sector agnostic guide because Pakistan Stock Exchange pays with 35, 36 से ज़्यादा sectors are listed. So it has to be such that all these sectors can be covered within that guide. So it is a broad guideline that we shall be issuing. Other than that, हमारी एक पूरी industry की task force create हुई है under the leadership of Dr. Shamshad Akhtar, who is currently the caretaker finance minister, along with a few other portfolios of revenue and so coming and privatization. So coming back under her guidance and leadership, we have created an ESG task force. Jisme obviously Unilever and companies like Unilever are part and parcel. This has come together under an MOU between Pakistan Institute of Corporate Governance and Pakistan Stock Exchange, and we are rolling out that guide. Iske baad subsequently, once companies start reporting and are on that reporting journey, so then we will also work on, and we are planning a sustainability index. So these are a few initiatives that are in the pipeline, and you should be seeing some action on them soon. There's one last question. This is the last one which I will take. Is Unilever Pakistan using third-party services for assessment of its ESG performance and assurance to other stakeholders?
No, not right now.
No, not right now. You are doing this reporting on your own?
Right now in Pakistan, we're not reporting on ESG as of now. So we're not using these services right.
But in generally, the global framework of Unilever requires us to report to the Unilever headquarters on a lot of fronts related to ESG. So that is ongoing, but there's no local reporting happening and hence no external services needed at this point in time. But we are gearing up and prepared if the reporting is mandated right away. We're completely prepared for it.
Actually, थोड़ा सा add on to it, पाकिस्तान में ये होता है कि जब हम बात करते हैं कि ये बहुत अच्छी चीज है, ये रिपोर्टिंग होनी चाहिए, तो लोग कहते हैं क्यों जी इसको मैंडेटरी क्यों नहीं किया. जब मैंडेटरी कर देते हैं तो कंपनीज एंड पीपल से कि आप हर चीज जो है ना हमें आप रेगुलेशंस बना देते हैं और पॉलिसीज और इस तरह आप हमें मैंडेट कर देते हैं. सो अभी तक आई वुड से कि हमने इस पे इनकरेजमेंट लेवल पे बहुत काम किया है. एंड इनकरेजमेंट में ये होता है कि द कंपनीज दैट आर एक्चुअली रिपोर्टिंग एंड अडॉप्टिंग ESG metrics and guides, so they will outperform the others who do not adopt them. So abhi to right now the environment is such that there are companies who are going out, who are adopting, who are reporting, who are abiding and complying. So they will eventually, or in the longer or midterm mein, they will become visible and stand out from the ones who are not. So but till such time अभी सिर्फ गाइड भी हम अगर रोल आउट करते हैं और सस्टेनेबिलिटी इंडेक्स भी आ जाता है, तो देन वो कंपनीज जो कि रिपोर्ट कर रही होंगी और अच्छे तरीके से रिपोर्ट कर रही होंगी, they will become prominent, and that is where then the focus of stakeholders will actually sort of come to. So ये एक चीज है, but eventually अगर नहीं हुआ and longer term mein the government realizes that they must make it, or the SECP realizes that they must make it mandatory या corporate governance के requirement में डाल दें, तो वो भी chances हैं हो सकता है. So, but it is time to get up for companies. जब तक मैंडेटरी नहीं हुआ, एटलीस्ट आप तैयारी करें, आप अपने ग्राउंड वर्क करें, आप अपने प्रोसेसेस को रिविजिट करें, स्टडी करें, एंड देखें हाउ ईच कंपनी कैन मेक अ डिफरेंस एट देयर ओन लेवल. So with that, I would like to especially thank Ramla, Waleed, Mohammed Taha, my team, Farooq and Fahad and my team, who have actually put together this whole webinar to bring it to all of you, and which could not have happened without the help of Unilever, of course. So inshallah, we'll be doing more webinars, so stay tuned. And those who want to learn more and revisit, please do check this webinar on our YouTube pages. Thank you very much, Ji.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
All right,
Thank you
Ji.
for
Allah
having us.
Hafiz.